Commander Deho stood on the bridge of the Thought Eternal, watching the stars through the large viewing window. His blue-gray scales caught the soft light from the ship's controls. The Araxian had seen many things in his 50 years of space travel, but today felt different. "Commander, we have detected an unknown ship entering the system," said Officer Hanul, her voice calm despite the unusual situation. Deho walked to her station and looked at the screen. The ship was unlike any he had seen before. It moved with purpose, its dark hull reflecting little light. "Run basic identification protocols," Deho ordered. Hanul's 6 fingers moved quickly across her control panel. "Sir, initial data suggests this is a species we have not met before. They call themselves humans." The bridge went quiet. A new species was always cause for careful handling. The Galactic Union had strict rules about first contact. "The ship is called Defiance Mo," Hanul continued. "It appears to be a military vessel." Tae Woo, the second in command, joined them at the screen. "We should follow standard procedure and scan their ship," he said firmly. "The Union rules are clear." Deho nodded but felt strangely hesitant. In all his years of space exploration, he had helped discover 17 new species. Each time, the standard scans had worked perfectly. These scans told them about the new species' technology, weapons, and culture. This information helped the Union decide how to approach them. "Prepare the scanning equipment," Deho said finally. Hanul started the process but then stopped suddenly. "Sir, I'm picking up unusual energy readings from their ship, and their communications use encryption that our systems cannot understand." "Is there a problem?" Deho asked. "Not exactly a problem," Hanul replied, her head frills fluttering with confusion. "But their technology seems unusual, different from what we normally see." Deho's secondary eyelids blinked rapidly as he thought. The standard procedure was clear: scan first, communicate second. But something felt wrong. "Sir, the human ship is now within optimal scanning range," Tae-Woo reminded him. "We should begin immediately." Deho watched the human ship grow larger on the screen. Its design was both simple and complex. It had clean lines but many small details that suggested advanced engineering. Most notably, it had what appeared to be weapon ports along its sides. "They call it Defiance," Deho said quietly. "An interesting name for a first contact vessel." A memory surfaced from his early training days. His old teacher, a veteran of many first contacts, once told him, "Sometimes the rules must bend to wisdom." "Sir?" Tae-Woo prompted, clearly growing impatient. Deho made his decision. "Hold the scans," he ordered. Tae-Woo's mandibles clicked in surprise. "But Commander, regulations clearly state—" "I know what the regulations say," Deho interrupted. "I helped write some of them, but something about these humans suggests caution." "What do you suggest instead?" Hanul asked. "Let's try the old way first," Deho said. "Open a direct communication channel, visual and audio. Let's see their faces before we probe their ship." Tae-Woo clicked his mandibles in disapproval. "That is not protocol. We need to know their capabilities before we engage." "Sometimes protocol must wait for instinct," Deho replied. "There is something about their ship design, their communication patterns. I cannot explain it, but I feel we should be careful." Hanul looked up from her station. "The human ship is sending a message. They are requesting communication." Deho nodded. "See? They want to talk. Put them on screen." The large display at the front of the bridge flickered and then showed the inside of the human ship. A figure sat in what appeared to be a command chair. It had no scales, no mandibles, just soft-looking pink skin and fur on top of its head. "Greetings," the human said in perfect galactic standard. "I am Captain Lee of the Earth vessel Defiance. We come in peace and wish to establish friendly relations with your people." Deho stepped forward. "I am Commander Deho of the Araxian Science Vessel Thought Eternal, representing the Galactic Union. We welcome peaceful contact." Captain Lee smiled. "We detected your ship preparing scanning equipment. While we understand this is likely standard procedure, I respectfully request that you inform us before conducting any scans of our vessel. Tae-woo whispered. They detected our scanning preparations? How? Dae-ho felt his earlier caution justified. We will respect your request, Captain Lee. Perhaps we can begin with an exchange of cultural information instead. As the conversation continued, Dae-ho silently thanked his old teacher. Sometimes the oldest wisdom was the best. Look before you touch and listen before you act. Ji-young couldn't sleep. For 3 days, the human ships had stayed near the Araxian vessel while their leaders talked. 3 days of watching those strange vessels float in space, hiding their secrets. They are so mysterious, she said to herself, tapping her clawed fingers on her desk. Ji-young was young for an Araxian science officer. Her scales still had the bright blue color of youth. Many said she was too eager, too curious. Today would prove them right. She walked into the main science lab where Director Sun-ho was studying some data. His scales had faded to a pale blue-gray with age, and his movements were slow but precise. Director, Ji-young said with respect, I've been thinking about the human ships. Sun-ho looked up. What about them? Their outer technology seems simple, in some ways. Look at their communication arrays. She showed him some pictures on her datapad. These appear less advanced than our own. Sun-ho nodded. Perhaps. But Commander Dae-ho believes they have hidden strengths. Ji-young moved closer. What if we ran a quick scan? Just a level 3 quantum resonance scan? It would tell us so much about their true capabilities. Sun-ho's eye ridges rose in alarm. Absolutely not. Commander Dae-ho gave clear orders. No, scanning without permission. But a level 3 scan is harmless, Ji-young argued. It's what we use on uninhabited planets. They won't even know we did it. Orders are orders, Sun-ho said firmly. The commander was very clear. Ji-young lowered her head. Yes, Director, I understand. But she didn't. Why be so careful? The humans seemed friendly enough. Their ships looked powerful but not special. What could they possibly have that required such caution? Later that night, Ji-young returned to the lab. The night shift workers paid little attention as she went to her regular station. She looked around carefully. No one was watching closely. She opened the scanning controls and selected the smallest human ship, the Vigilant. It was just an escort vessel, not their main warship. Surely a small peek wouldn't hurt. Just a basic level 3 scan, she whispered as she entered the commands. Quick and harmless. The scan began, sending invisible waves of energy toward the human ship. At first, everything seemed normal. Data started flowing onto her screen. Ji-young smiled with excitement. Then the screen flickered. That's odd, she said, adjusting some settings. The screen went black. Then the entire console shut down. Around the lab, other stations began to fail too. Warning alarms sounded. What's happening? Shouted one of the night workers. Ji-young tried to stop the scan, but her controls were dead. A strange burning smell filled the air as circuits overheated. 3 other scientists cried out in pain, grabbing their heads where their neural interfaces connected to the ship's systems. Emergency medical team to science lab, someone called over the ship's communication system. Ji-young stood frozen in horror. What had she done? 10 minutes later, Commander Dae-ho rushed into the chaos of the science lab. Emergency lights flashed red. Medical workers helped injured staff. The smell of burned electronics filled the air. What happened here? Dae-ho demanded, his voice sharp with anger and concern. Ji-young stepped forward, her scales now pale with fear. It was me, Commander. I ran a scan on the human escort vessel. Dae-ho's secondary eyelids blinked rapidly. You did what? Just a level 3 quantum resonance scan, she explained, her voice shaking. It should have been harmless. After I specifically ordered no scans without permission, Dae-ho said coldly. Before Ji-young could answer, the communication panel on the wall chimed. When Dae-ho pressed the button, the screen showed a human face. I am Admiral Hyun-woo of the Earth Defense Fleet, the human said. His face showed no anger, just serious concern. Commander Deho. We detected an unauthorized scan of our vessel, Vigilant, approximately 12 minutes ago. Deho's posture stiffened. Admiral, I apologize for this incident. It was not authorized. The human nodded. I understand. I should inform you that your scan triggered our automated defense system. What you experienced was our lowest level countermeasure response. It's designed simply to discourage scanning, not to cause permanent damage. Your system should recover within a few hours. Lowest level? Deho asked, his voice betraying surprise. Yes, Admiral Hyunwoo confirmed. Just a gentle warning. We hope your systems and crew recover quickly. When the screen went dark, Deho turned to Ji Young. The young officer had never seen her commander look so serious. Lowest level, he repeated quietly, and it shut down our entire science division. Ji Young could only nod, her scales still pale with shock. I wonder, Deho said, looking out the viewport at the human ships, what the higher levels do. The grand meeting hall of the Galactic Union Security Council glowed with soft blue light. 23 different alien species sat around the large, round table. Some had scales, others had fur. Some had 4 eyes, others had none. But they all shared one thing: concern about the humans. Ji-ho stood at the center of the room. Her presentation equipment was ready. As chief intelligence analyst for the Union, it was her job to understand potential threats. For the past 6 months, she had studied nothing but humans. Thank you for coming, Ji-ho said. Her voice was calm and professional. Today I will share what we have learned about human defensive technology. She pressed a button on her wrist device. Above the table, a large holographic image appeared. It showed a human warship, the same class as the Defiance from the first contact incident. As you know, 6 months ago, we welcomed humans into the Galactic Union, Ji-ho began. Since then, we have attempted to understand their military capabilities. This has proven difficult. Council Representative Min-soo leaned forward. The old Cephalian's tentacles twitched with interest. Difficult how? We have scanned the ships of every other species. That's exactly the problem, Ji-ho said. She touched her device again, and the hologram changed to show the incident at Proxima data. Every attempt to scan human vessels has resulted in failure, sometimes expensive failure. The council members murmured among themselves. The Proxima incident was well known. An entire science vessel had needed major repairs after a simple scan attempt. But why? Asked Representative Kilsu of the Mauritian Collective. What makes their technology so different? Ji-ho nodded, having expected this question. Humans developed along a very unusual path. She changed the hologram to show the history of Earth. Most spacefaring species followed similar patterns. They developed energy shields, improved hull materials, and focused on physical protection. The hologram showed various alien ships with their defensive systems highlighted. Humans took a completely different approach, Ji-ho continued. They invested heavily in counterintelligence technology. Counterintelligence? Admiral Sang-hoon asked. The old military leader looked confused. Against scanning? Yes, Ji-ho confirmed. And there's a reason. Human history contains thousands of years of espionage and information warfare. Before they united their planet, they had hundreds of competing nations constantly spying on each other. The hologram showed images from Earth history, spies, code breakers, and surveillance equipment from different time periods. They even made entertainment about stealing information, Ji-ho added, showing clips from old human movies about spies. They called it hacking when someone broke into information systems. They practiced it so much that they became experts at preventing it too. Min-soo's tentacles curled thoughtfully. So when we scan their ships, we are essentially trying to hack them, Ji-ho finished. And they have spent centuries preparing for exactly that. She changed the display to show a diagram of a human ship. This is our best guess at how their defenses work. The outer layer broadcasts false information. If you push deeper, you trigger increasingly aggressive countermeasures. How many layers have we identified? Asked another council member. 7 confirmed, Jiho said. But we suspect many more exist. Each layer is more dangerous than the last. The room was silent as the council members considered this information. Can we overcome these measures? Admiral Sang-hoon finally asked. His military mind clearly wanted to know the enemy's strengths. Jiho's face showed no emotion. We've tried, Admiral. Our best technical teams have made 23 different attempts using our most advanced technology. And? Prompted Sang-hoon. All failed, Jiho said simply. 3 resulted in complete system failures for our scanning vessels. 5 caused data corruption that took weeks to repair. 1 attempt actually caused our own scanning system to attack itself. She paused to let this sink in. The humans don't consider these responses hostile, she continued. They view it simply as automated, self-defense. So we remain blind to their true capabilities, Sang-hoon said quietly. Yes, Jiho confirmed. And I believe that's precisely what they want. Admiral Sang-hoon leaned back in his chair. A clever strategy. We cannot assess what we cannot see. Indeed, Jiho agreed. Their ambassador Lee explained it to me this way. On Earth we had a saying, the most dangerous opponent is the one whose strength you cannot measure. Do they present a threat to the Union? Asked Representative Min-soo. Jiho considered the question carefully. They have been cooperative on all other matters. Their technologies in medicine, agriculture, and art have been freely shared. They participate actively in trade. She shut down the hologram. I believe they simply want one thing, privacy for their military capabilities. It is deeply ingrained in their culture. They do not trust easily, but they make loyal allies. So your recommendation? Asked Min-soo. Simple, Jiho replied. Stop trying to scan their ships. Accept that this one secret is theirs to keep. The cost of pushing further is too high, and the humans too valuable as allies. The council chamber filled with discussion as the members debated this unusual approach. In the history of the Galactic Union, they had never admitted a species without fully understanding their military power. But then again, they had never met the humans before. Admiral Do-yoon stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Celestial, Harmony. His 4 antennae twitched slightly, the only sign of his frustration. He had won 3 major space battles and negotiated 7 peace treaties. The Union had given him their highest medals, yet these humans were making him feel like a beginner. Status report, he said calmly. Lieutenant Yoon-ji looked up from her station. We are in position, Admiral. The joint exercise will begin in 10 minutes. Do-yun nodded. This was no ordinary exercise. For 1 year, humans had been part of the Galactic Union. For 1 year, their military ships had remained a mystery. Today, Do-yun planned to change that. Through the main view screen, he could see the human destroyer Adamant. It looked powerful but not extraordinary. Its dark hull reflected the light of the nearby star. It maintained a steady position, waiting for the exercise to begin. Are the scanning vessels in position? Do-yun asked. Yes, sir, replied Tactical Officer J1. All 4 scanning ships are in formation as planned. Do-yun allowed himself a small smile. The scanning ships were his special addition to this exercise. Each contained the most advanced scanning technology in the Union. Together, they would execute what he called the Tarkin maneuver, a coordinated multi-point scan designed to overwhelm any defenses. The bridge crew worked quietly, preparing for the exercise. Most of them had never seen a human ship up close. Some looked nervous, remembering stories of the Proxima incident. Admiral, said Yoon-ji. The human captain is hailing us. On screen, Do-yun ordered. The image of Captain Olivia Hayes appeared. She was a middle-aged human with short gray hair and a serious face. Admiral Do-yun, she said with a small nod. The Adamant is ready to begin the exercise. Excellent, Do-yun replied. We are also ready. This should be a valuable learning experience for both our crews. Hayes smiled slightly. Indeed, though I must remind you that scanning our vessel is not part of the approved exercise plan. Do-yun's antennae twitched again. How did she know? Of course, Captain. We will respect all agreements. When the transmission ended, Jae-won looked at the Admiral. Sir, should we abort the Tarkin maneuver? No, Do-Yun said firmly. Proceed as planned. The security of the Union may depend on understanding human capabilities. 5 minutes later, the exercise began. Ships from both fleets moved through space, practicing formations and simulated combat scenarios. The Adamant performed impressively, showing speed and maneuverability that surprised many observers. Throughout it all, Do-Yun waited patiently. He needed the perfect moment when the human ship would be distracted. Now, he said finally. Initiate the Tarkin maneuver. The 4 scanning vessels moved into position around the Adamant. Each approached from a different angle, ready to scan simultaneously. Scanning vessels report ready, Jae-won announced. Do-Yun leaned forward in his chair. Simultaneous multi-vector scan in 3, 2, 1, execute. For a brief moment, data began flowing onto the screens. Do-Yun felt a surge of triumph. It was working. The coordinated scan was piercing the human defenses, then the screens flickered. Sir, shouted Lieutenant Eun-ji, her voice suddenly panicked. Primary systems are detecting antimatter containment failure. Navigation shows us on collision course with a neutron star, called another officer. Life support failing ship-wide. Alarms blared across the bridge. Crew members rushed to their stations. The situation room descended into chaos. Do-Yun remained perfectly still. He took a deep breath and said calmly, It's not real. Those are phantom readings inserted by the human countermeasures. The bridge crew looked at him in confusion. Sir? Yoonji questioned. The humans are feeding false data into our systems, Do-Yun explained. There is no antimatter leak. There is no neutron star. Our life support is functioning normally. Slowly, understanding dawned on their faces. The crew began working to restore their systems. When the view screens finally cleared 10 minutes later, the Adamant remained in position, apparently unaffected. The 4 scanning vessels were adrift, their systems completely shut down. The communication system activated automatically. Captain Hayes appeared on screen again. Her expression was calm but slightly amused. Creative attempt, Admiral, she said. Your Tarkin maneuver nearly penetrated our second-level defenses. Do-Yun felt his antennae twitch involuntarily. Second level? Hayes nodded. We appreciate the opportunity to test our systems without requiring activation of our more substantial countermeasures. After the transmission ended, the bridge remained silent. Do-Yun turned to Jae-won. Contact the scanning vessels. Check their status. A few minutes later, Jae-won reported, All 4 ships report total system failures, sir. They estimate 3 days for full recovery. Do-Yun nodded slowly. And what did we learn? Nothing, sir, Jae-won admitted. We received no useful data about the human ship's capabilities. Do-Yun stood up and walked to the view screen. He looked at the Adamant, floating peacefully in space. Log this in the official record, he said finally. Standard scanning protocols are permanently suspended for all human vessels. The risk outweighs any potential intelligence gain. As he returned to his seat, Do-Yun thought about Captain Hayes' words. Second-level defenses. What would the higher levels do? Perhaps some secrets were best left undiscovered. Captain Elena Valentina stood by the large window at the Galactic Union's centennial celebration. The room sparkled with lights and was filled with beings from 50 different worlds. Music played softly in the background as important people from across the galaxy talked and laughed together. Elena sipped her champagne and looked out at the stars. Far below, she could see her ship, the Prometheus, in orbit around the planet. Its sleek shape made her proud. 5 years had passed since humans joined the Galactic Union. 5 years of building trust, making friends, and keeping secrets. It's a beautiful view, isn't it? Said a voice behind her. Elena turned to see Admiral Daeho approaching. The Araxian officer looked impressive in his formal uniform. His blue-gray scales shimmered under the party lights, and the gold medals on his chest showed his many achievements. 5 years ago, he had been Commander Daeho of the science vessel, Thought Eternal. Now he was Fleet Commander of the entire Galactic Union. Admiral, Elena greeted him with a warm smile. Congratulations on your new command. Thank you, Captain, Deho replied. His mandibles shifted in what Elena now recognized as an Araxian smile. Your presence here represents remarkable progress. 5 years ago, many doubted humans would integrate successfully into the Union. Yet here we are, Elena said, looking around at the mixed crowd. Humans chatted with Araxians, Cephalians, and 24 other species. Though I sense some species still find us unsettling. Deho followed her gaze to the window, where they could see the Prometheus hanging in orbit, its dark hull catching the light of the nearby sun. You remain the only species whose military capabilities cannot be properly assessed, he said. It creates a unique diplomatic position. Elena turned to him, suddenly concerned. Is that a problem? Deho's inner eyelids flickered in what Elena had learned was amusement. Quite the opposite. 3 separate species have abandoned planned aggressions against Union territories after learning humans would be involved in the defense. Really? Elena hadn't heard this before. The imagination fears what it cannot measure, Deho explained. Without knowing your true strength, potential enemies assume the worst. Elena looked back at her ship. The Prometheus was powerful. Yes, but not as magical as some believed. The stories about human ships had grown with each passing year. Some said they could destroy stars. Others claimed they could travel between dimensions. None was true, but the mystery served humanity well. We never intended to be mysterious, Elena said truthfully. Our defensive systems developed from our history. We spent centuries fighting each other, spying on each other. We learned to protect our information before we learned to protect our borders. And that has become your greatest asset, Deho concluded. There's now a saying spreading through Union space. Don't scan the humans. It's becoming shorthand for some mysteries are best left unexplored. Elena laughed softly. I'll drink to that. She raised her glass in a small toast. As they stood, watching the stars, Elena thought about how far they had come. First contact had nearly ended in disaster because of a simple scan. Now, humans were respected members of the Union, their ships mysterious guardians of peace. Do you remember when we first met? Deho asked suddenly. Your Captain Lee was very polite when he asked us not to scan your ships. I was just a junior officer then, Elena said. But I remember how careful everyone was. We had no idea if our automated defenses would cause a diplomatic incident. They did, Deho said with another mandible smile. But a useful one. When Officer Ji Young scanned your escort ship, the Vigilant, Elena supplied. Yes, the Vigilant. That incident taught us more about humans than any successful scan could have. It showed us you were different. Below them, the Prometheus caught the light of the distant star as it moved into sunset. Its hull gleamed gold for a moment, beautiful and mysterious. Different isn't always bad, Elena said softly. Indeed not, Deho agreed. The Union is stronger with humans in it. Your mystery protects us all. A server approached with more champagne. Elena took a fresh glass and raised it toward Deho. To mysteries, she said. The Araxian admiral took a glass as well. To respected mysteries, he corrected with a friendly flicker of his eyelids. As they watched the galactic sunset together, human and Araxian standing side by side, Elena thought about the secrets hidden inside her ship. The defense systems were impressive but not magical. The true power was in what others imagined might be there. Sometimes not knowing was more powerful than knowing. Sometimes the greatest strength was a respected mystery. The end.